Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we are talking all about some really expensive things that might be making a home look cheap. Now we've got a number of things to get through, so let's get into the video. Now the first thing on the list we have to talk about of expensive things that can make a home look cheap is wallpaper. I'm a wallpaper lover. Let's make that clear. I absolutely adore a beautiful wallpaper. However, if you are not selecting the right paper for the space, it can definitely make it look cheap as opposed to elegant, luxury, sophisticated. And wallpaper is very expensive. The most important thing to consider with a wallpaper is the texture, the color, the finish. What are you doing? Things like flocked and glitter wallpapers don't tend to look that expensive, but they tend to be very expensive. So opting for something that's a little bit more neutral, a little bit more minimal will definitely elevate it. Something else worth considering is the actual pattern or print on the paper. Something that's a very small pattern but has a very bold color scheme will look very distracting as opposed to accenting the space. The opposite is also true, that a very large scale pattern on a wallpaper can kind of look like a wall decal. We've talked about that before. It's not what we want to do. Those are stickers and we can leave them for the children's books. Consider something like a grass cloth or a natural fiber for a wallpaper because it's always a little bit more simple, it's a little bit more elevated, and if you're going to invest the kind of money it takes to do this in a wallpaper, make sure you're getting the right type for your space. If you have textured walls, look for something that's thicker that can actually hide that texture because nothing is worse than spending so much money on beautiful wallpaper just to see some bumps underneath. The next expensive thing that can make your home look cheap is actually fake marble. The reason this can make your home look cheap is because it just doesn't look like the real thing usually. Like some of these quartz type products, they tend to look like a cartoon version of marble. And that's not what you want for your home. Now I know we all love marble. It's beautiful. We see it in magazines and in luxury homes across the world, but it's not necessary for your space. If you think it's too high maintenance, instead of opting for the fake marble version of the marble, look for something that maybe doesn't have that veining or is very minimal. There are some marble alternatives that definitely do look beautiful, good, that would fool me, and that's saying something. But you want to take the time to find the right piece, the right stone, the right material for you, and that includes tile as well. A lot of porcelain options can look good, but they have a finish that is not convincing. Or some quartz, they look great, but they don't have the veining. Don't be so concerned with finding a faux marble option because it looks like you didn't go for the marble and you wanted the fake version of it because it was cheaper, even though it's usually not cheaper. If you're doing something like your countertops, that's a big investment. So make sure you're taking the time to find the right material for you that you really love, that speaks to you, not that just says, oh, look it, I have the white marble countertops, even though they're not real marble. Now, the next expensive thing that can actually make your home look cheap are glass railings. These are very expensive. We are living in a time where there are product shortages all over the place, and glass is one of those things. So having glass railings installed can be a big endeavor. There's delays, it's behind, and maybe you're not looking at glass, you're also looking at acrylic, same difference. The problem with this is a number of things. One, there is a safety issue because you cannot grip the banister, the railing, like you can a normal banister or railing because it is one solid piece. If you are tripping and you are gonna fall down the stairs and you try and grab this for support, you are done. It's over. The other issue is if you are actually using your banister or railing for support and you're touching it, the oils from your hand will leave prints and marks on that glass. It's going to have to be cleaned all of the time. Like I previously said, if you have kids, they leave everything covered in a combination, a mix of 30% cheese dust, 70% boogers, and it will get on the glass and you can have fun cleaning that. Do not ask for my help with it, darling. I will send you a bottle of Windex and wish you the best. A glass railing is great because it's different than what we were seeing before. It's not the traditional banister and spindle. However, that is also its downfall. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a nice, minimal, simple metal railing banister, something that's easy and actually provides the functionality a banister should. They are there for a reason. They're not just decorative. It's a safety feature you have to have. So be sure you are thinking about, can you actually use that? Will it provide you the support? And that glass can look dirty. It's just kind of reflective. There's so much more you could do with the space because the glass banister is actually starting to look just a little bit dated at this point. We can move on from it. We can elevate to something beautiful and great. I'm sure the glass railings can be great somewhere, and let's save it for that place. We don't need it on the staircase where we actually need those safety features. Plus, in a very modern space, it's always nice to have a cool take on a traditional element, and you can do that through a beautiful metal railing or sleek wood piece. It's great, it's simple, it's easy, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel because sometimes that glass railing can actually just make your house look cheap. Now, the next expensive thing that can make your home look cheap are the cool toned gray floors. Gray is a color people love. It's a tone, it's a neutral, it's beautiful, and I love it too. But a cool tone gray floor can definitely make a house look a little bit cheap, a little bit dated, because it was a big trend that kind of came and went really quickly. I know a lot of you love gray. You share that with me, and I feel that too. As an interior decorator, I love every color, and I think gray has its place. But if you are looking at flooring and you want a gray option, look for something that has both those cool toned and warm tones in it. That way you can pull one or the other out as your tastes change. Because changing flooring is not inexpensive. It's a big job, it's messy, it's dirty, and very expensive. So you wanna make sure you are getting the right option the first time. At some point, your style might change and you might say, you know what, I had fun with the gray and we're ready to move on from it. It's nice to have something that has a little bit more of a taupe-like tone to it that you can then mix in some warmer tones with, pull that color out, and you don't have to redo a floor. You're just switching out a rug or the sofa or a chair after you have moved on from that piece. I love that. And that's one of the most important things here on this channel. Like, you all share that with me in the comment section, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and I love the engagement we get to have. So if you are not already, please take a moment and join the LeChic family, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I upload. Because here on this channel, you are not a commodity, you are not a number to me. We genuinely have such a great community here that I would love for you to join. And after you do, be sure to let me know in the comments section so that I can personally welcome you to the channel. Now, the next thing that is really expensive but can actually make your home look cheap is matching lighting sets. I know that choosing lighting is hard. Trust me, I get it, but choosing a lighting set of everything that matches can actually make your home a little bit devoid of character, and lighting is expensive, okay? Having an electrician out, having them install things, that costs a lot of money, and there's no point in getting something that is just matchy, that was easy, if you're going to spend that. Take the time and really source and curate some different things. And don't do all matching light fixtures in one space or all the same metal. You can mix in some different things. Right now, white light fixtures are very in, like plaster looking fixtures. I love that. I think it's so cool. Mixing that with black or brass or even chrome can create such an interesting feature, a unique mix in your home that really speaks to the personality of the space. Changing out your lighting, mixing it up, and using some unique fixtures always makes a home look more personal and more expensive, as where that one lighting set where everything just matches everything, it looks builder grade, it can look a little bit cheap, and it looks a little bit devoid of character. Be unique, be you, mix it up in your home, and get creative, have fun, because that's always a great way to elevate the space. Now, the next expensive feature that can actually make your home look cheap are rounded drywall corners. This may just be my personal trauma, but I cannot stand a rounded drywall corner. Now, if you already have them, embrace them, live with them, and I love that for you. It's not that bad, it's not that big of a deal, but we are living in 2022. So if you are in the position where you are looking and buying or building a new home, there's no point in installing them. Do not spend the money on it. Having a normal squared drywall corner is not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. And actually, it creates a better place to transition wall colors. I also am a big fan of trim. So in my home, all of my drywall openings will be getting trimmed out. That way I can transition those colors a little bit more seamlessly, because you end up with a more natural place to change colors. I love a trimmed opening, but I also am not mad at a square drywall opening. It's the rounded corners that can actually be a little bit difficult. You don't absolutely have to have them to have an elevated space. It's just an extra that maybe isn't necessary, and you should consider removing from that list of upgrades through your builder. Now, the next expensive thing that can make your home look cheap are fake olive trees. Right now that's very in, and a lot of people are loving the olive tree inside. We went through a moment where it was like the fiddle leaf fig, and I love that for us, but the fake olive tree, sometimes they can just be really expensive and they still look kind of fake. There's no point in spending an arm and a leg, thousands of dollars on a fake plant. Consider maybe getting a real plant or look for a more affordable alternative. Not everyone can have plants and grow them in their space. Sometimes you're living in a subterranean place, or it's just dark and you don't have the light, or you just don't have the will to take care of that plant and you want it. I know a lot of people have feelings about it. I'm indifferent towards whether or not you have a fake plant. Let me just make that clear. As long as you dust it and take care of it, that's fine. But you do not need to spend a ton of money on the perfect, the most upgraded, the designer fake plant, because usually it still is going to kind of look a little bit fake, and it's not worth spending the money on something that you're not getting for that money. Don't waste your time on really expensive fake plants, because they usually are just not worth it. Now, the next really expensive thing that can actually make your home look cheap is very trendy furniture. And the reason for this is because if you are taking the time to invest in one of these trends and you're serious about it and you go heavy, you get a great quality piece of furniture, which is what I always recommend you do in your home because of the longevity you get for that. Remember that a trend starts off really good. It starts off really high quality, really luxurious, and it goes downhill from there. As trendy pieces are copied by more affordable makers, designers, furniture manufacturers, or stores, the quality goes down. And then your luxury piece is going to maybe be considered with a little bit more of those lower quality pieces. That's not something you ever want to do. So when it comes to a trend, I always recommend you wait that trend out. Give it 6 months, 9 months, give it a year before you invest in it. That's what I did in my home. In my studio, I actually have a gorgeous boucle sofa. And boucle is maybe not the single largest trend anymore, but it is definitely timeless for my space. I took the time, I waited it out before I decided that was right for me. And I definitely recommend you do that in your home, because if a trend dies out really quickly, a lot of those really luxurious high-end pieces will be available on the resale market and you can score them at a really cute little deal, and I love that for you. Also, waiting it out will definitely help to make sure you actually like the trend and that it will have longevity in your home and in your life. Now, the next expensive thing that can actually make your home look cheap are built-in or artwork style architectural features. I'm talking about things like having actual sculpture installed in your home, and I'm talking about murals. Those sorts of things are extremely personal to you, but they can actually be very dated a little bit later on. If you think about murals, look at Tuscan design. A lot of people hired really amazing and talented artists to do these, Tuscan landscapes and grapes and bottles of wine, and that's beautiful, but we're at the point now where we're saying paint over it, cover it up, and we're done with it. Consider maybe having a mural done on an actual canvas, or you could have something really large scale done on like pieces of wood that you hang as artwork. That way you can take something like that off your wall and then resell it somewhere else. That's a great way to get the look, the style you're after, get that customization you want, but not have a commitment to destroying someone's artwork that they actually took the time to create. The same thing goes for sculpture. There is a house in my previous neighborhood that had a literal fountain installed in their foyer, a massive garden fountain. I mean, we're talking like 6 feet wide here, a huge fountain, and nobody really wants to have a fountain in their foyer anymore. It's kind of like you walk in, you get the chlorine smell from a fountain. What's the point of it? It's a little bit too much of a personalization, a customized feature that actually maybe doesn't make the house look that great, in my opinion anyway. Maybe the people that live there love it. But consider whether or not you are prepared to install one of those really dramatic artwork type of features in your home architecturally, because it may not have the greatest run in the long term. It may ultimately result in your home looking cheaper, but if you spent a lot of money on it and it has some sentimental value, you probably don't want to just paint it over, cover it up, or get rid of it. Is it right for you? That's something you have to consider before you have that installed so you don't regret it later on. Now, the next thing that is a really expensive home feature but can actually make your home look cheap are tubs that fill from the ceiling. I personally have never understood that, but that's also because I really value seeing some gorgeous hardware, a gorgeous faucet in a bathroom, in a kitchen, wherever. I don't personally understand the tub that fills from the ceiling. I get that maybe it's cool to have like the water coming from the ceiling, but it seems to me like when you turn it on, it's immediately gonna splash and get water everywhere. And to top it off, it's a really difficult feature to install. Something can often go wrong with those. And like the water is in the ceiling, what if it leaks and then you get your ceiling destroyed? Like it seems like a lot to me. The other thing worth considering if you are looking at having your tub filled from the ceiling is how long of a bath are you taking? I'm not getting in a bath and relaxing and lounging and having a sip of my little glass or drink of, I don't drink wine, but maybe I'm having some juice or something, whatever, with the candles lit and everything. And as the water goes a little bit cold and I want to refresh it, I'm having to turn the water that's coming from the ceiling on, and then it's gonna just hit me. And it's not like, I don't understand the tubs that fill from the ceiling. I think it's something that's a little bit of a kitschy feature that is definitely not worth the money, in my opinion. A rainfall shower head, absolutely, love it, fabulous. A tub that fills from the ceiling though, I don't think is completely necessary. If it's in your home, great, keep it, use it, but it's definitely not something that I feel like in 2022 we should add to our homes, because I feel like it's a really expensive feature that isn't really getting you the bang for your buck. It's not the kind of thing you're showing off, or I mean, hey, maybe you are and I love that for you, but I would much rather be relaxing and lounging, luxuriating in my bathtub and have at least a beautiful faucet to look at, something that's substantial that I can reach and turn on and turn off and live my fantasy. Filling the tub from the ceiling though is just not giving me that. Well, there you have it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to share with me in the comment section down below and give this video a like. I want to hear from you. What is one extremely expensive home feature that you just don't think is worth the money that you've done and you're recommending everybody not do because it's not worth it? It doesn't add to the vibe of the space. Share with me, and I also know that you know someone, they are buying a new house, they're renovating, it's your friend, and you don't want to have to be the one to tell the friend that the tub that fills from the ceiling, like, who do you think you are? What is this, a hotel room in Vegas or something? No. Share this video with them because friends help friends, and I will see you in the next one.